What's good, everyone? Hope you're having a good Tuesday afternoon. So if you are catching this on the replay, happy whatever day it is. So once again, it's Ryan Miracle with Agent Launch. So kind of giving you a little bit of background on why we're doing this video today. So I'm knee deep in a research project, and one of the stats that I uncovered here recently is the average real estate agent makes $9,600 a year for their first 3 years. And for that reason, for that fact, I'm super thrilled to be joined by the dynamic and one-of-a-kind John Harp, a seasoned team leader and creator of the Daily Real Estate Huddle on Clubhouse, which I've actually joined and I am absolutely loving. So with John's help, we're going to gain invaluable insights in lead generation, organizing your business, and execution strategies that propel your real estate business forward. So whether you're a new agent or seasoned pro, you're in for a great conversation that's going to take you on a journey to new heights. Let's get started. John, welcome, buddy. How you doing, man?
I'm doing well. Thanks for having me on here. And I told you before I was grabbing a piece of paper so I could take notes.
Yeah,
And you know, your project that you're doing right now is in alignment with what my mission is.
I love that.
Um, so I took notes. I didn't know $9,600 was the number for agents their first 3 years in the business. So
Yeah,
I
it's
appreciate you
scary,
sharing
man.
that with me.
Yeah, no problem. I'll be happy to give you all of my notes afterwards. I have recently discovered you myself through a mutual friend. So let's assume that no one in the audience knows you. I know most of them do, but just take me from ground zero. Can you share a little bit about your background in real estate and how you got to become the team leader you are today?
Yeah, just from the real estate standpoint, I came to Ohio State. I did my degree. Quickly realized back in 2011 that what I went to school for wasn't what I wanted to do as a career. Some of it was I was probably a little bit too cocky and thought that I was worth more than what someone was willing to pay me based off of me just investing 3 years of my life into school. I decided that I wanted to get into real estate to learn the investing side. That's when the classic HGTV and all of the flipping shows were going on. My
Hmm.
parents had always bought older homes. We always did the sweat equity thing. They didn't ever like flip them, to flip them. We lived there, but we fixed them up, right? So I had some information, some knowledge in those regards. So 3 weeks after, graduating college, I started in real estate. And I always tell people I got lucky. I had randomly emailed people that I found online, and one of them happened to be Tracy Chambers, who was
Nice.
the team leader of the Keller Williams Consultants office. And she's the only one that responded back to me. And I forget how many emails I sent out. I don't know. It was probably 5 or whatever. It wasn't a ton, but she's the only one that responded to me. And I went and interviewed with her. And she said, hey, John, I have a younger guy in my office that is looking to build a team. I believe that you would, work with him really well. And I was 22 at the time, or 21 at the 22 at the time.
Hmm.
And I got connected with Ryan Riley. Ryan Riley was the person that she connected me with, and he was my age. He was 33 when I met him. So, got connected with him 3 weeks after graduating, jumped into being his admin.
Okay.
And from there, that whole summer, I went back to real estate classes on the weekend and got my license at the end of summer of 2011 and really hit the ground running. Fourth quarter of 2011, and from there, been doing real estate full time ever
Mhm.
since. So I don't know how much you want me to share,
No,
the
no, and
whole
that was
journey
great.
or.
So you're kind of an OG at this point, with the average agent tenure being what, less than 5 years in your experience. So
Yeah,
you're over a decade plus in. So, dude, you survived the hard stuff. So congratulations.
I,
And
I,
to keep elevating to where you are right now, it shows that you just didn't stop.
yeah, like I said, I got lucky. So, and
Oh,
this is my mission and my passion of helping new agents get into the business. I want to impact the 87% failure rate.
hmm.
I believe that it does not have to be that high, right? I got lucky in the sense that Tracy was the only one to respond to me. That she so happened to have an agent in her office that was looking to build a team. That so happened to be someone that was willing to um, not only invest his time and his energy and his knowledge,
Hmm.
but actually invest his dollars into me, right? Actually put me in a position to succeed. So I had coaching since day one, not just from Keller Williams. I had coaching from an outside source. He took me to conferences. My first conference was that October. So I just got licensed in August, right? Just got
Hmm.
into the business. And within less than a year, I was at my first real estate conference, which
What was the
where
conference?
it was back then, it was called NAEA,
Okay.
which is the National Association of Expert Advisors. If you guys know, the founders of that was Jay Kinder and Michael Reese. Um, so I got into the environment and I got someone that was willing to invest in me.
Hmm.
We had an admin, right? We had a CRM. He paid for internet leads. Now I had to go and do the work, right? Don't get me wrong. Like I had to go put in the work, but I didn't have the year one struggles, the year two struggles, the year three struggles simply because of the environment that I was in and the person was willing to invest in me.
Right.
And that's what I'm trying to give back now, right? Because I do not believe that real estate you should have a 87% failure rate. I know why it's that high,
Yeah.
but I don't believe it should be that way.
Agreed.
Like
And God
the
love you for
ninety
wanting to
six
give
hundred
back.
dollars, yeah, the $9,600 is scary.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that's where agents get stuck in the part-time game because, I mean, that's poverty level kind of stuff. Is you can't survive on just $9,600 a year. It's tough.
Yeah,
No, it's
yeah,
impossible. So, fast forward to where now, where you and I picked up was your daily real estate huddle on Clubhouse. Now, admittedly, I thought Clubhouse wasn't even around anymore, so shame on me. But so we were connected, and she said you really need to be in this room. So for like the last week and a half, I've been a fly on the wall, and dude, there's just dropping diamonds in this thing. So give me a little bit of a background on what kind of discussions happen inside of this Clubhouse room.
yeah. So Clubhouse, the Daily Real Estate Huddle, is a collection of real estate professionals
Hmm.
that come together every single day just to talk about real estate. We go over wins, we go over challenges, we talk about different topics, we talk about goals, right? And to me, it doesn't matter if you're a real estate agent, a lender, a home warranty rep, an insurance agent, contractor. We have a roofer in there. To me, real estate is just business.
Hmm.
We're just selling different products,
Absolutely.
right? So I can learn from someone that is crushing home warranties and getting realtors and clients that way. I can
Hmm.
learn from the loan officer who's building a team and getting more LOs to work underneath them, right? Like I can learn from all of that. So it's just if you guys want to think about it, instead of it being a happy hour, grab some coffee and let's just talk and let's just network for an hour. And what I always tell people, it doesn't matter if you're selling one home or if you sell hundreds of homes, we all go through the same stuff, right? We're all
It's true.
experiencing the same highs and lows and, trying to plug holes in our business bucket. It's just a little bit different, like maybe a different scale,
Hmm.
but it's all the same stuff. And I love it because it allows me to understand what's going on in the marketplace and what are people feeling within the marketplace.
Yeah, same, and that's honestly the biggest insights that I've seen. So, so agents, the other agents that are in the Clubhouse, people that are watching. I mean, you guys are my ideal client, and I don't know how to serve you if I don't know what you're struggling with. So, it's actually been really refreshing how candid the conversations are. So, like, there was a top producer this morning. I'm not gonna share names, but top producer this morning that you think that everything is just glitz and glamour, but she got kicked in the teeth, and just hearing that she goes through the same things that you and I go through and every agent goes through, I'm sad for her rough patch, but it's actually really good, reassuring. And then the conversation that followed, the amount of love that poured into that room, I've never seen anything like it. So kudos, man, for giving agents a voice and be able to learn where they wouldn't have the ability otherwise.
Yeah, I always tell people it's building a community, right? And to me, again, I hope that one of the things that I learned early on in my career is I can look outside of real estate and take what's working in a completely different industry and bring it back
Mhm.
to me, right? What Clubhouse is a community, right? And agents feel safe coming in and talking about those things,
Mhm.
right? Like we've created that and we've encouraged that. And what you saw today was that in its truest form, right?
Mhm.
Like she's not the only one that had that
Right.
experience. And she's going to have it again, right? I'm going to have it again, right?
Same.
It's not going away. It's called being a business owner.
Hmm.
And it's just that, when you find people that are like-minded, that share similar views, maybe values, we don't share all the same values, but it's a safe place to come to have an open dialogue and discussion. And the greatest thing, which I don't think you've seen on there, but the former Ohio Division of Real Estate, Ann Pettit, comes in there all of the time.
Really?
And she comes up and she talks on stage. Now, she's not in that role anymore, but she's been in there over the last 2 years when she was in that role,
Right.
and has contributed to those conversations.
All right. Well, see, that's what I mean. Is you're creating a swim lane for agents to grow and be themselves and not be afraid to show the warts on the pig. Because that's honestly, you said it. We're all struggling with the same stuff. Just a lot of us are not willing to admit it.
Yeah, right. I mean, Ryan, you talk to a lot of high producers, whether they're solo agents or teams. I tell everyone there's not one team that has everything dialed in.
Oh,
There's not
no.
one top producer that has everything dialed in. It may look like that on the outside, but I promise you, the back end side of it is a disaster the majority of the time. So, what I just did was I just said, hey, this is the reality. This is truth, right? To growing your business or growing a team.
Uh-huh.
Let's just talk about that.
Oh, yeah. Well, I mean, and you're exactly right. So that was the thing that was most surprising. So being a loan officer and not, and looking from the outside in, like now starting the agent launch thing and mentoring agents, I was surprised. And I told this to my wife about a week ago that all of us are pretending to be adults and hoping that no one figures out that we don't have our shit together.
Yeah, I mean, that's just it. I mean, look, there's, as a top 5, top 10 team in our marketplace, we have holes in our bucket, right? Like it's not perfect.
Hmm.
We have a lot of holes in our bucket, but that's the journey of business,
Absolutely.
right? Like that's the journey of success. And my coach always tells me, problems never go away; they just change, right? And
It's
I
true.
see this all the time, and I want to go and start a team. Okay, well, why do you want to start a team? Well, I want more time at home. Okay, great. You solved for that problem, but now you just created 4 other problems, right?
Hmm.
Because now you have responsibilities. You have to take care of other agents, and you have to make sure they're doing what they're supposed to be doing. And
Exactly.
now you might have to bring in an admin. And so, agents out there, if you think that you're going to be solving problems and they're going to go away, some will go away, but you just now created another set of
Uh-huh.
problems for your business.
Exactly. Exactly. So to that point, it's never going to be perfect. You mentioned in a cursory conversation with me that you have a tool, and there's like 3
Yes.
components to it, is that right? So why don't you expound upon that and how that helps kind of not cover up, but smooth over some of the bumps that you and I just mentioned.
Yeah. So, over the 12 years of me being in the business, right, it's like, okay, well, self reflection, self awareness, I think all of those things are important too. And, over the last 12 years, it's like, okay, well, John, what were some of the advantages that you had, right, over others and getting into the business? So I call it the umbrella term is the real estate cheat code,
Hmm.
right? And for me, that's broken down into a couple different subsections, right? One is the real estate launch,
Okay.
understanding how to go out and attract people to work with you, understanding what you need to be focusing on every single day, understanding the math behind your business, understanding, that everyone needs coaching and mentoring, and understanding that you need to make sure that you're dialed in with your time. So that's one section of that, right? The second section is fast track, and that's what you're referring to. How do you fast track your business? How
Okay.
do you get more than $9,600 in your first year, right? And the third section of that is the value advantage, understanding and articulating the value that you bring to your clients or
Okay.
to potential clients. And then you have what I think a lot of people miss on if you're on a team, the advantage that your team brings to the table, and then the advantage that your brokerage brings to the table. But I think you wanted to dive into the fast track and really.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So, I mean, you did touch on something that I want to circle back to, your brokerage, and you mentioned that a couple times over the last week in the clubhouse. So I want to circle back to that. But So yeah, so let's talk about the fast track and um, talk to me like I'm a fifth grader. How does it work?
Yeah. So fast track, and I took this idea from a whole nother industry. So I'll
That's
go
great.
over it, and I'll show you how we apply it. And this is how I want agents to start thinking of things. Fast track, it solves for the number one reason I believe that agents struggle is because they do not know where their next transaction's coming from.
Uh huh.
They have no clue, right? The second thing is they do not know when they're going to get paid. So how do we solve for those two things?
Okay.
Well, Fast Track allows you to go and it's made up of 3 lists and one daily success plan. So your 3 lists are your SOI, your
Hmm.
sphere of influence. This could also be your database. I'll lump both of those in. So if you're on a team or you do a lot of internet leads, I'm gonna database and SOI to me one, right? Um, the more people that you have in your SOI and in your database, the more business you're going to do. So how do we keep track of those people? Well, we need to make sure we're organized. The CRM. I'm still a little bit old school. I have it somewhere on my desk, but I print off my papers, right? Like I have to visually see it in paper. So it's made up of 3 lists, your SOI database list. Your
Yep.
second list is what we call your top 50 list. If you're doing a lot of business, this may be your top 100 list. These are people that you've connected with, had conversations with, that have told you that they're looking to do something in the next 12 to 18 months. Their name gets put on that list. These are the people that you need to be actively staying in front of on a fairly regular basis.
Right.
And then the third list is what we call our hot list. These are people that you're actively working with or you're near now buyers or clients, right? Within the next 3 to 4 months. And if you look at those 3 lists, it creates a funnel, right? Top of funnel is going to be
Yeah.
your SOI and your database.
Yep.
Your middle of funnel is going to be your top 50, top 100, and your bottom of funnel is going to be your hot list. And I think a lot of times it's just organization and agents, and it doesn't matter how many deals you do, people are going to slip through the cracks. But the idea is if you create those lists, and for me, I have to have it in front of me on paper.
Hmm.
I look through those every single day. And if Ryan's on my list, I may be like, oh, I haven't spoke to him in 3 weeks. Maybe I need to reach out to him, or maybe I need to, send him a handwritten note or whatever the case may be. Right. So it helps you with identifying. The hard part's not actually finding the people. The hard part is actually following up with the people for when they're
Oh
ready.
yeah, it's tough.
Because real estate's not an event. It's a process. No one wakes up today and buys tomorrow.
Uh.
So it's the follow up. Once you've identified the person that they're looking to do something, I have to stay in front of them. So how do we do that? So then we break that down into what I call the daily success plan. And this is the part I took from a whole nother industry. My wife is a psych nurse practitioner, and she got into a company called Arbonne, which sells basically clean eating products, right? And yeah, your typical MLM type setup, right? Your multi-level. I like to call MLMs. I like to call them multi-level mentoring, right? If done right, they're not a bad thing.
Oh no.
So she got into this space, and one of the things that the company sends everyone that joins is a 90-day success book. And every day it tells her what she should do in order to be successful with selling Arbonne,
Hmm.
right? So it's sitting around the coffee table. I see her doing it at night, and this was more of a side hustle for her, not really income producing. Um, and I was like, damn, I can use that for real estate agents.
Oh, absolutely.
And so what I did is I took that, look, rip off and duplicate. I'm a big supporter of that. Took that, tweaked it, put, what agents should be doing every single day in order to find success in this business. And I created a 23-point system.
Okay.
And the second part of that is I teach consistency over time is what matters. There's a great book called The Power of Consistency by Weldon Long.
Okay.
And
Love books.
essentially there's a great quote in there that you can't do things the right way consistently and get the wrong results. Right? So if you're doing the right things and you're consistent with it, you're going to get the right results. It's just whether or not you're doing the right things or you're consistent. So it's a 23-point tracker sheet. And when you break that down over the course of a year, not counting weekends, you're going to have 5,520 touches,
Wow.
right? 1% conversions, 55 deals. 0.5% conversion, you're at 27 transactions. So if you reach out to 5,520 people, or you have 5,520 conversations, I'm going to bet that you're going to have transactions coming from that.
Oh,
It's
absolutely.
just whether or not you do it consistently. And where a lot of new agents struggle, agents in general, is they don't wake up every single day and have any idea of what to do. So in the daily success plan, it's list out 3 goals that would be successful for you today. Not a
Okay.
to-do list. 3 goals that would make you have a successful day. That may be, I need to, schedule a face-to-face appointment with the buyer. That may be, I need to call 50 leads. That may be, I need to get a deal in contract. To where at the end of the day, if you hit those 3 things, you can honestly say I had a successful day. Not a to-do list. There's a difference, right? It's 5 DMs or text messages every single day. It's 15 comments on social media every single day. It's 1 hour of training every single day.
What
It's,
what kind of training do you suggest for agents?
to me, it doesn't matter. To me, it's Clubhouse, it's YouTube channel, it's a podcast, it's reading a book. I think the hack for me that I try to help a lot of agents with is I go from training to prospecting. So for me, the training helps me get my mind right to then allow me to go into prospecting mode, because that's the number one thing that agents will not do. They know they need to do it, but they're not going to do it because they do not like doing
The
prospecting.
training or the prospect? Oh,
The
prospecting. Okay.
prospecting. So for me, I habit stacked. 1 hour training rolled right into 1 hour of prospecting,
Gotcha.
and it just helped me get my mind right. It's 2 phone calls to your sphere of influence, or if you're on a team or you do internet leads, I think you need to be doing at least a minimum of 25 phone calls a day. Some people watching this will be like, that's not even enough. But I'm talking for, the agent that may not be doing internet leads or new to internet leads, right? 25 phone calls a day. And it's one handwritten note and gathering one address, mailing address every single day.
Dude, I mean, you're taking me to school, and I've been doing this for 18 years.
But the thing is, right? A lot of agents, they don't have a plan. They don't know how to go and get business. And what this does is it simplifies it,
Hmm.
right? Like real estate's simple. It's hard, but it's fairly simple when you think about it, right? I only need to focus on a handful of things to go and get business. So what the daily success plan does and fast track does is it allows you to create your list so you can stay top of mind with people. It gives you the daily activities that you need to do every single day,
Hmm.
which as salespeople, it's how do I get people to know me, like me, and trust me, right? Awareness. It's tracking your business. So did you score 5 points today, or did you score 23 points today?
Just kind of
Right?
gamification.
Gamification. So today you may crush it and you may do more than 23 points, or maybe you max out at the 23 points. Tomorrow, guess what? Maybe you have a busy day and you're only going to get 7 done. Okay, well now I know I need to make up that deficit, right? So the day
Right.
after, right? How do I score? How do I score? How do I score? And it's not by the day, right? It's by the week, by the month, by the year. And that's how you guys can track. Hey, maybe on average, if I hit moving forward, you know, and everyone will be different with this, right? If I can hit a minimum of 17 points every single day, I'm typically going to get X number of clients every single month. I'm then going to get X number of clients every single quarter. I'm going to get X number of clients every single year. So tracking your activities, am I doing what I'm supposed to be doing every single day? And so the point system just helps solve for a lot of those different things that
Uh,
most agents don't track.
I think you're really onto something right there because once again, it's the boring, consistent work. To your point, that is what gets us paid. It's not like flailing around for 30 days on a new project. It's sticking with that project for an entire year, for six
Yeah.
months, for yeah, you don't know because you don't know when it's going to start gaining traction. It could be quick. It could be a year.
Yeah. Yeah, and that's a whole nother topic of how do you determine and figure out what's the best business pillars for you to be focusing on, and
Hmm.
all of those things. But to that, most agents don't give that one thing enough time to even determine whether or
Agreed.
not it makes sense or works for them.
Agreed.
And it's a fine line between I got to pay the bills today and give everything the time that it needs for the future. So I understand it. Um, but you know there's the level of sacrifice that you're going to have to make in order to have those accomplishments and that success in that area of going out and attracting people to work with you.
Right. So, I mean, admittedly, in that last question, you answered like our next like four questions. So you're killing me, Smalls. So, honestly, probably the next one that I want to ask is, this is something that I've been asking the agents that I'm doing my research project with. But how are you coaching agents to balance that push and pull of personal life and professional life? Like, I think it was a conversation yesterday where an agent said he's struggling with that balance. But like, how do you advise agents who are struggling with that give and take?
Self-awareness. Look, I think it's sexy to come into the real estate space and say I want to make a $250,000.
Hmm.
I think it's sexy to come in and say, hey, I want to sell 50 plus homes a year. And my question is do you really? Because to me, it's not necessarily the income goal. It's not the transaction goal. It's the lifestyle goal.
Okay.
And to sell 50 homes and to make 250,000 is a different lifestyle than someone that, may only want to sell 15.
Right.
Maybe a little bit different lifestyle than someone that wants to go and make $1 million. Now, most agents get into the business for three things: more money, more freedom, more flexibility in their schedule. Right? So freedom meaning free to do whatever you want, flexibility meaning the day to day, right? So it's either more money, more freedom, more flexibility. Well, why do agents fail? It's because they have way too much freedom and way too much flexibility and no direction. So when an agent doesn't know what to do, they do nothing,
Hmm.
right? And you can have all three, but you're building a team in order to get it, in my opinion. Right? You can have the most money possible. You can have all the freedom in the world, and you can have all the flexibility within your schedule, but you're not doing it on your own if you want to sell at a high level,
Right.
right?
Yeah, you're
And
going to
if
run out
you
of time
don't
at
want
some
to,
point.
exactly, and if you don't want to make the most money, right? Well, then you're going to have more freedom and flexibility as an individual agent, right? If you go after and make more money, guess what? Your freedom and flexibility may suffer a little bit as an individual agent. So for me, it's just awareness. Like, what is truly the goal? A lot of times I find that people say they want to sell 50 homes, but they're only putting in 15 home type effort. And a
Hmm.
lot of times that is because of their lifestyle that they're living or that they want
So,
to live.
and I think that, like you touched on it, I think that self awareness piece is something that is missing a lot because we, as loan officers, speaking freely, get pitched the same lifestyle that agents get pitched. Come in, and you just touched on it: more freedom, more money, more flexibility. And then we get in, we're pushed into the deep end with no skills on how to swim, and then from there, we are left with no direction. So,
Yeah.
for an agent who just got pushed into the deep end, who doesn't have a background in real estate, um, how how are you advising them to balance uh, customer experience with just needing to get sales in the door?
Well, I think if we're talking just a new agent getting in,
Yeah, let's
right?
start
The
brand
one of
new,
the
less than a
one
year.
look, it kind of goes back to the what problems are going to solve for. They're never going to go
Hmm.
away. Like for me, it's the level of sacrifice. What level of sacrifice are you willing to make? Are never going to go away. It's just going to look differently. So, I don't know if you're going to have a balance in the beginning. I don't know if it's healthy necessarily for you to have a balance in the beginning.
Okay.
Balance to me looks at $9,600 a year, right? So do you want that? Or are you willing to make sacrifices in order to, and it doesn't have to be sacrifices to this extreme for your whole career,
Right.
but sometimes it's like the rocket taking off.
Oh yeah.
In the beginning, it needs way more energy, way more effort right? Way more systems. And then once it gets going, it just floats, right? So, there is no balance in our business in the beginning. You should be, going all out and making all of the sacrifices to make that transition into real estate or into, becoming a lender. Because once you make that transition in, that's when you can start creating some of the balance. But a lot of people want to try to balance it as they do it.
Right.
It can happen. It's just going to take you longer. And then agents are like, well, this sucks because I'm not selling anything. So now I'm getting out of the business. So balance to me, I don't know if it's necessarily realistic in the beginning. There's a great book out there called Pick Three by Randy Zuckerberg. It's actually
Okay.
Mark Zuckerberg's sister.
No kidding.
And she talks about just this, right? Like a lot of times humans, we try to, I forget all five of them, but it's family time, finances, business, relationships, and something else. But we try to hit all five of those every single day,
Mm-hmm.
right? And if we don't, we feel overwhelmed. And the books talks about only picking three for today. Health was one of them. So like today, I'm very busy on work today. And so today may be business focused, maybe family focused, and maybe gym focused. Well, tomorrow it may turn into finance, health, and relationships, right? The day after may go to just family. So her whole thing is you're not going to be able to do all five every single day. You got to pick three that you want to focus on that day, and over time they will balance out. So, when you do have that one day off with no appointments, and maybe you've lacked family time throughout the week, well, maybe that is your one day to focus on your family to offset up until that point,
Yeah, catch back up.
right? And to catch back up. That's realistic balance,
Mm-hmm.
right? That's reality. It's not you're going to get all five areas in every single day.
Yeah, that kind of falls in
So,
line with multitasking. I mean, all of us are atrocious at multitasking despite what we tell ourselves. So if we can have a singular focus for that moment, we usually execute better. So, I mean, you're spitting just fundamental principles, which I know most of us don't want to hear, but we need to be reminded more than we need to be taught.
yeah, I mean, there is no balance, right? At the end of the day, clients come first, especially if you're new to the
Mm-hmm.
business, right? I always told people I was 22 years old. I didn't have, kids or anything. I always told people I'm available Monday through Sunday, 9 to 9. Call me, need me whenever you want. I'm there. Well, now
Mm-hmm.
that looks different today, 12 years later. But in the beginning, that was the sacrifice, right? I was available every single day of the week because I needed to be available every single day of the week and every single hour of the day in order to make it into real estate, right? So define what that balance is, and you have to be willing to say what are the self-awareness, what are the sacrifices I'm willing to make
Right.
in order to make this happen.
No, I think that's solid. So, like, sticking on the topic of the $9,600 agent who's been in for less than 3 years that hasn't launched yet, like, what is the one thing, if you were sitting face to face with them right now, what was the one thing that you would tell them that you need to clear everything else out, to your point that you just made, and what needs to be your singular focus for like the next 30 days?
Grant Cardone had this quote when I was getting into the business, and he said every day I'd wake up and say, "Who's got my money?"
Mm.
Um, back to the trainings, right? This was just one of the things I saw one day as I was, watching videos and all those things.
Uh-huh.
I took that and said, "Who's going to be my client today?"
I like that.
So every single day as a real estate agent, you should be waking up and saying, "Who's going to be my client today?" Real estate in the simplistic form. If you want to go and do more business, the number one thing you need to do every single day is have real estate conversations with people. It does not matter how it happens in my book. So gamify it. I'm not coming home, or I'm not leaving the office until I have 5 conversations with people about real estate, 10 conversations with people about real estate. Let's just say it's 10. Well, over the course of 30 days, you've just communicated with 300 people about real estate.
Uh-huh.
That's
Once
it.
again, spread out over X amount of time.
That's it. That's my number one thing. How many conversations are you having every single day?
Mm-hmm.
Now, there's more to it, but that's the simplistic form, right? To me, it could be at the grocery store. It could be at your barbershop. It could be at your office. It could be at an open house. It could be at the bar. It could be at a restaurant. Like, I joke all the time, but this is reality, is there's 7 to 8 people on our real estate team that Ryan and I met at a restaurant or a bar that was a server or a bartender, and we had conversations of like, hey, do you want to be doing this for the rest of your career? No? How about you come sell real estate? You already got the skills. I'll
Right.
teach you the real estate. Like, we have people from our team that came from a bar, and that's all you have to do as a real estate agent. Real estate conversations. How many conversations am I going to have today? Who's going to be my client today?
Yeah, the food service industry and real estate are really tied at the hip. I know a lot of people who came over and have done really well that were in food service before. So, I mean, if you're in food service right now watching this, once again, you're not going to be alone when you come over.
But think about this. Everyone that we typically will talk to
Hmm.
in a given day are either homeowners or they're renters.
Hmm.
How are you going to create the conversation?
That's true.
Right?
That's true.
So it's just whether or not you're willing to go out there and create the conversation, create the opportunities.
Hmm.
And that's the number one thing that new agents struggle with, is because they don't know how. They don't know what to focus on.
Right.
They don't
There's
know
just so
who to
much.
focus on.
So in the clubhouse room this morning, one of the members held an event yesterday, and part of the things that she talked about in her event was branding. So for a new agent, how much emphasis do you put on trying to create a brand so you can differentiate yourself from other agents, or is that not a priority when you first get started?
No, don't focus on it.
Okay.
I think there's a lot of things that take a lot of agents away from the number one thing that they need to be focusing on. The number one thing we need to be focusing on: who's going to be my client today.
Mm-hmm.
There will be a point in time in your career where, yes, branding and all of that stuff does work. But in the beginning, you getting a logo is not going to get you clients,
You
right?
made that
Like,
mistake.
so, and it's just natural, right? It's just human nature. So the number one thing when I sit down with agents, I don't teach them contracts. I don't teach them our consultations. I don't teach them anything. The only thing I teach them is how to go and find people to
Mm-hmm.
work with, and the conversations that they need to be having, and how to have those conversations. That's it. Look, I love branding and I love marketing, and yes, those are all important. But in the beginning, it doesn't mean anything.
Mm-hmm.
Like, this is where a lot of agents, we struggle with anxiety and all of those things, because if every agent only prospected 2 hours a day, you would make over 6,000. You'd make over 6 figures,
You
right?
said 2 hours a day?
2 hours a day at a minimum, right? Prospecting, intentionally prospecting, meaning you're actually out actively engaging with people on a daily basis. You will make over six figures. I truly believe that. And then you can talk about all of the flexibility and the freedom of your day, right? Because day one, you may not have any clients. Go enjoy the rest of your day.
Mm-hmm.
But that's a successful day for prospecting, right? Day two, you're probably not going to have any clients. Day three, but it's the compound over time, right?
Right.
If everyone did an open house every single day for 30 days for 2 hours a day, they will get clients. It's just whether or not you want to do it. And most people don't love prospecting because it's not fun.
Because it looks like
They're
work.
not doing it. They're not doing it in alignment to their personality.
Right.
They're not doing it in alignment to their interests and their hobbies. And that's what I coach on, right? Your sphere of influence will always be a business pillar. I believe in having 2 business pillars, no more than 3.
Mm-hmm.
One is dangerous. So business pillars would be how do you go out and attract people to work with you? So your SOI will always be 1.
Okay.
Now, are you more outgoing and love connecting with strangers? Okay, well, maybe you need to be focusing on door knocking, open houses, networking events that are geared towards real estate, buyer seminars, seller seminars, investor seminars, right? That's an environment that you would thrive in. If you're someone that's more like me, I was more introverted. Well, I was comfortable pounding the phones and just calling buyer leads, right? Maybe you're someone that, you don't have much patience with clients. Well, you should probably not be working with buyers. You should probably calling for sale by owners and expireds listings, because typically sellers will make quicker decisions and that process is a little bit quicker
Hmm.
than a buyer process, right? So I like to coach on, tell me your personality and what do you enjoy, and I will show you the business pillars to go out and do. Because if you enjoy it, you'll do it consistently. And that's all that I need is the consistency. But if you were to tell me, Ryan, and I got into the business, John, you need to go and door knock, or you need to go to investor networking events, I would have failed. I would have fell flat on my face because that's not my personality. It never would have worked. I didn't work with a seller for the first 3 years of my career. I only worked buyers. My personality is, and even to this day, I typically love buyers more than sellers because that's my personality. Back to the self-awareness, I am okay with who I am. I don't need to be the top listing agent to go and have success, right? I just need to go and help clients that will take care of my bills, right? That will do what I need to do. And I think a lot of agents get caught up on that. Back to your branding, right? Like they get caught up on the wrong things. Let's focus on what you enjoy doing. Let's focus on what you're great at. Let's focus on just going and getting the business.
And just touching as many people as possible versus the arbitrary stuff, like you said, logos, colors, websites, those kind of things. You can get there, but it's just not your priority when you get started.
100%. And a lot of people just get, it's this, is it truly an opportunity or is it a distraction that looks like an opportunity?
Mm-hmm.
Because a lot of things look like opportunities, but they're actually distractions to you and your business.
Yeah, it's the woman in the red dress from The Matrix. I'm showing
I
my
mean,
nerd
that's
here.
it.
Yeah.
I mean, that's it.
So, you've dropped like way more value than I thought you were going to. So thank you. I appreciate you sharing so much. So one of the things that I've really enjoyed watching you is how open you are, and you've kind of proven that again here today. Open just to give away everything that you know just to serve. So what is the role of a good mentor when it comes to someone who is failing to launch or struggling to launch?
I think I think they have to be willing to pour into you. Um, I always told people, like when I got into the business, every day I was sending Ryan a message or calling him and saying, "What are we doing today?"
Hmm.
And I believe this is where our industry struggles, and I believe this is where our industry would greatly benefit and have an impact on the 87% failure rate is apprenticeship style. Like I literally was with him every single day in the beginning. And if I wasn't with him, I was calling him 3, 4, 5 times a day, right? Even if it's just to, and I don't think your mentor has to be your friend, right?
Right.
But even if it was just to, hey, let's grab lunch real quick. Or, I had to be doing realtor activities. And to me, the mentor can help you create realtor activities on a more consistent basis, even if you're just shadowing them,
Hmm.
but you're being a realtor, right? It just may be their business. So I believe the mentor should be willing to pour into you with their time, uh, their energy, um, obviously their knowledge, clarity,
Hmm.
right? Helping you get clear on what you truly want out of this industry, getting clarity on how to go out and do business. Like I said, I got lucky. I didn't know that Ryan and I were going to align on the way to go and build business together. Like I
Right.
didn't know that I was going to love internet leads, but I believe that your mentor should probably be someone that might be doing business how you want to do business. Because if you want to go crush it on social media, well, don't go follow someone that does only for sale by owner calls, right? So does that have to be a requirement? No, but that just to me makes sense, right?
Right.
Um, so I think it's that. I think as a new agent, it's the who's going to put me in the environment to be doing realtor activities more consistently every single day.
Gotcha. So someone that can call you on your shit when you're acting like a doofus, and but they still want the best for you instead of just being a jerk. Because there are mentors that are old school football coaches that will smack you in the back of the helmet expecting you to fall in line, but there's others that learn how to actually people, which is a skill not many of us are taught. So finding a mentor that can give you what you need. So where can they start looking for those mentors?
Come to Clubhouse.
That's a good point.
It's pretty simple. And the reason why, that room has grown, and I think we have 1,400 members. Every day we have anywhere from 50 to 80 people that pop into the room. But look around your office, right? There's only going to be a small portion of your office that is even willing to share and actually open up the playbook to you.
Right.
But you have to ask questions. Ask other people, right? Who should I be following, right? Pay attention on social media, right? Is there someone out there that's posting, content that you vibe with, that you think you would connect with, personality wise or around common interests or hobbies. I think it's, when I got in at Keller Williams, and it's not Keller Williams' fault, it's just the nature of our business. I didn't feel like there was many people within that office that would actually share what actually was working for them in 2011 and 2012.
The scarcity mindset.
Scarcity mindset. Part of the reason why I created Clubhouse was because there's no top team in our marketplace that will actually tell agents how to go out and how they built their business.
It's unfortunate.
At at an open level, right, to everyone, maybe within their team, maybe within their brokerage, or their office, but not in an open forum. I wanted to be that, because at the end of the day, what we did is not anything that we created. We took from somewhere else,
exactly.
We implemented it and executed on it, right? So I'm just trying to spread that information and that knowledge.
God love you, man. Once again, we need more people like you, and hopefully this spurs some people hearing you and what you're sharing, inspires others to serve the community as a whole. So kind of wrapping up here. So 2 last questions. So you've been in this long enough. So you and I are OGs at this point. So leading up until 2008, real estate was just real estate. Then it kind of calmed down, and then we started approaching 2018, 2019, and things started getting squirrely again. And then COVID happened. And then since then, we've seen like 4 to 5 different iterations of the real estate market. So it's like every 6 months, it's changing into something else that we're all having to readapt to. So with, what'd you call it? Your fast track, your tool?
Yep.
Okay, so with your fast track, is that one of the like proven Plymouth Rock kind of things to where it's a North Star for agents, or have you had to adjust that as the market's adjusting as well?
It's the proven, right? Like, it doesn't matter what market we're in. I always tell agents, real estate still moves. Mm-hmm. Real estate's never going to stop. People are going to need a place to live.
Right.
It's the North Star. It's conversations, it's engagements, it's staying top of mind with people in your world. That's it. So how do I get people to know me? Right? I have to engage with them. I have to reach out to them. I might have to post. I might have to put seminars on. I might have to call them. I might have to text them. I might have to DM them. Right? I might have to put an event together.
Right.
So how do I get people to know me? Then the second thing is, how do I get people to like me? Well, Ryan, you get to choose whether or not you like me, and I get to choose whether or not I like you, right? But if I never knew you, I wouldn't even know if I liked you or not.
Right.
So the second thing is, how do I get them to like me? Well, they got to be around me. I always tell agents, you have to get your database in your world. Like for me, and what I want to do, I have to get agents into my world. Mm-hmm. I have to get them around me, right? Well, I got to get them to know me first, awareness. And then the third thing is, how do I get them to trust me? How do I get my clients to trust me that I am the expert advisor when it comes to buying, selling, or investing in real estate? And that is you practicing your skills, you practicing your conversation, using premium language, right? When you're talking to people, articulating things in a simplistic way, articulating your value, right? Your presentation skills. So fast track is the North Star because it all starts with awareness, top of mind, engagement, conversations, then turns into does this person like me or not, right? Which then turns into how do I get these people to know that I am the right agent for them based off
Right.
of what they're trying to do. It
I
doesn't
like it.
matter the market. It may look different than what it was the last 2 years, 2.5 years. But real estate, it doesn't change. It's a contact sport,
Yeah, the fundamentals are always the same.
always the same. You might have to work a little bit harder.
Yeah,
You
your
might have to
conversion
tweak,
numbers switch.
yeah, you might have to tweak some things, right? You might have to actually practice your scripts and objection handling
Hmm.
and actually have a buyer's consultation or a listing presentation, right? Like you actually might have to sit down with someone and say, hey, we actually have to think about this because, I know your neighbor sold a year and a half ago and it sold, with 10 offers in 24 hours. Well, in this market, it's really 7 to 14 days. And, the numbers are all over the place now. It's not as simple as putting a sign in the yard. So in today's market, you may have to actually do some of those things where you
You
didn't
need the
have
work,
to in the
right?
past.
That's good. Well, so last question, and then we'll let you get back to your day. So I know you're always trying to evolve and serve at a deeper and deeper level. So is there, as you continue to grow in your mentorship and helping agents grow in their business and their mindset, is there a project that you are working on right now that that has you excited?
It's funny that you asked. So my project is to build a community of real estate professionals on um, a wider scale than just Central Ohio.
Okay.
Um, that will be a community that is not always led by me, but led by growth-minded people that want to give back to one another.
Yes.
So, you know, I'm actually in the process of building it out. It's not going to just be on one, it's not going to be a Facebook group. It's not going to be
Right.
Clubhouse, right? Like those will be what I call feeders,
Uh huh.
right, to this one community. To where, like I said, I believe I can learn from you and how you built your business. I believe I can learn from a roofer. I believe I can learn from someone that created a concrete company. To where it all of those individuals in our space can help us as agents, not only from a business standpoint, but also help our clients, right? If I get connected with a roofer and we have a big storm that comes through and they give out free roofing inspections and siding inspections, and now my client can go and get a new roof
Hmm.
through their deductible. And it's because of the relationship that I created with this roofer in a different community that now just saved my clients thousands of dollars.
Oh yeah. And
That's what
then
I
you're the
want,
hero.
right? That's what I want. So it's coming. I haven't announced it. I have it in the process of it's on a platform that I'm not familiar with. So it's coming, but just a bigger community. It's just I want real estate professionals that are growth minded, like minded, that want to go after and attack the failure rate, and that truly believe that the industry and the business model is broken.
Well, I couldn't agree more with the statement and the mission of what you're building. I fully am bought into the fact that in order for all of us to survive and grow as an industry, we need to start joining communities. The nomad agent is going to go by the wayside because it's just getting more and more complex. I wouldn't say difficult, but it's getting more complex. And for us to try to go it alone is just going to become more and more difficult. So God love you, man, for doing what you can to build and serve, and you're doing it in multiple facets. So how can we support you? What can we do to support John and his mission?
Come into my world.
Okay, so
Come
what's
into
the
my
easiest
world.
way?
Join our Clubhouse call. It's the app is called Clubhouse.
Okay,
Within Clubhouse, they actually have what they call houses. Our house is called the Central Ohio Real Estate House,
okay,
and um, we do a call every single Monday through Friday. from 8 a.m. to 9 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. Um, I always explain it as a social audio app and interactive podcast. So
Right.
you could come in and just listen only, and be down in the audience. You can come in and participate and raise your hand and come up on stage and talk and share, with what you want. But the goal of that is community over competition. That's what we believe in that group. So if you're coming in to start drama and do all that stuff, don't come, right? Because I will kick you out. That's one of the things that I protect. I protect that community, and I
Right.
protect what we stand for. So join Clubhouse. And here's the other thing. Look, I'm a big believer in learning. There in Clubhouse, it's not just real estate. You can have any conversation that you want in there.
Okay.
Any conversation. There's rooms on dating. There's rooms on marriage. There's rooms on travel. There's rooms on business. There's rooms on podcasting. There's rooms on book clubs.
All
There's
active.
so many different topics, and you find your community in there. So come join our community. I would love to see you in there. Obviously, my goal is to keep growing that, and would love to share, and hear your wins and what challenges you're facing.
Yeah, man. So if you are watching this on the replay, what I'll do is I'll drop the link for the Clubhouse room in, depending upon the platform, drop it in the chat, in the comments, in the description, whatever it is. I'll make sure that you guys have access to that so you can join. And once again, I've been in there it's coming on 2 weeks now, but the amount of insight that I've gained in just those 2 weeks is invaluable. So if you're not, you are on the outside. Let's join John on the inside. So, brother, thank you so much. This was invaluable, and I think we all could use this refresh that you gave us today. So, thank you. Yeah, if you guys need anything, once again, stay tuned. We're going to do more things like this where we have leaders in the industry coming on to serve you and your needs. So, stay tuned. Once again, I appreciate you. Happy Tuesday. And, John, have a good day, buddy.
Hey, thanks so much.
All right, catch you guys later.